Thank you so much for joining me on this Friday night. I know Friday is really tough for a lot of you. I appreciate you being here with me, and I hope that you have a great time. And that's the notification that we've just gone live. I don't know I was even getting notifications for myself going live. How is everybody doing out there? Jesse say, well, of course, you're always here. Alec Mitchell, glad to have you here, sir. And, of course, we're going to be joined by a few other members pretty soon. Happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday. Hey, Kenneth. What's up, buddy? How you doing, pal? It's a beautiful Friday here in Orlando, Florida, at least for the next few days, until, of course, we get hit with the storm. And we are going to get hit with the storm pretty soon, and it's going to stink really bad. Not really looking forward to that, I got to tell you. But hey, if you've lived in Orlando and if you've lived in Florida long enough, then you know these things happen. These things just kind of happen, so we're kind of just bracing and getting ready for the mess that's going to hit us, and it stinks. Not fun. Not fun at all. Zombie Slayer, nice to see you, man. Just bought the first 2 volumes of Immortal Hulk. What an amazing series. Thank you, man. I'm so happy that you did that. Immortal Hulk is fantastic, dude. It's my opinion the best thing that's going on at Marvel right now, and I hope you do enjoy that, and I hope you keep reading it. It's great stuff. Al Ewing is just writing the hell out of that book. There's something magical when you get the right artist, the right writer, and you put them with the right character. There's just something that happens there, and it's truly just incredible. I love that story so damn much. I really do. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping first. Patrons, new patrons. I just got to give a shout out. Hubba Pesek. I apologize if I get that wrong. Thank you, sir, at the $5 level. Lakazar at the $5 level. Thank you, sir. Really appreciate you pledging to my Patreon. And of course, Parker Luckenbach at the $1 level, even at $1. Super, super appreciative of you. Thank you, sir. I probably will see you later on in this live stream tonight. You're usually join us for the live stream later on. Thank you for the patrons out there. And of course, you can always become a patron in the link down below at patreon.com, comicsguide/comicsguide101. And we're going to do a raffle pretty soon, and somebody's going to win an Amazon gift card. So looking forward to that. Gotham Tangirala. What's up, man? Thank you for joining me, guys. Let's kind of start diving into the questions. We've got a question. So I usually handle the YouTube questions, the ones that have already been thrown at me in there. And I forgot to post up on Twitter. So I was wondering, why didn't I get any notifications of questions on Twitter? Because I usually get a few. And I completely forgot. I never posted the announcement. So we got some interesting questions, some tough ones. Let's start with Alec Mitchell. I know you're in the chat. What's your opinion of Rat Queens? I'm in the second hardcover, and I'm just pushing through it at this point. I want to like it. It has good moments, but it really drags on sometimes and kills the momentum. Rat Queens is a book that there was a lot of behind-the-scenes drama that was going on at the time, especially between the writer and the artist. You can look it up. I'm really not going to get into too many details as to what exactly it was that happened. Wasn't a good thing, especially on the artist part. The artist did some really messed up stuff. And for me, Rat Queens is a book that started off really strong. And the more I read of it, I was like, it has a good hook, and it starts off really strong, but it just, to me, does not live up to that hook. Like, it could be a lot better, and I wish it was a lot better, but I eventually ended up dropping it. Simply because of the delays between the situation with the artist and everything that was going on in the back and behind the scenes and things like that. So that's kind of the reason why I haven't stuck with it. It's one of those things where I've always meant to come back to Rat Queens and to continue reading it, but I just never did. You know, it's one of those books where you ever get a book or a comic and you think, you know what, I'm going to put this down, I'm going to come back to it, and eventually you never get back to it, though. You never come back to that type of book. It happens to all of us, and Rat Queens is that book for me. It's a damn shame. Peter Panzerfaust was like that for me as well, where I've heard that has a really solid ending. Kenneth Crawley, why do you think DC has struggled so much post-DC Rebirth? With delays, cancellations, and such. Titles have had the same feeling since Rebirth started. I think DC is in a bit of a pickle right now, and I was contemplating doing a video for a while, but it would just require way too much time, way too much energy, and with me doing videos like 5 times a week, it's really difficult for me to do like a long form 15, 20-minute video on everything that's going on with DC. I think a lot of the issues that stem with DC are creative. I think that with the situation with AT&T, with Time Warner, with all the shakeups that are happening at DC Comics, not necessarily in the DC Comics office themselves, but DC around them, which affects the comics department, I think that a lot of it is being affected right now. I mean, Jim Lee was saying things like, yeah, we expected more from the digital line. We thought that the digital sales would skyrocket and do a lot better, and they haven't. You know, and I think I'm paraphrasing, of course. I don't have the exact quote in front of me. But I think that there's a lot of worrying going around right now as far as what is going to happen with DC Comics. From a business standpoint, it's bottom of the barrel for what AT&T and Time Warner and that company that they own. It doesn't pull in a whole lot of money, and you know they've already cut Mad Magazine down to a shell of its former self. So, you know, fingers crossed, we'll see what ends up happening. But to me, I'm very afraid of the future of DC Comics. I'm very, very afraid of what that future is and what's going to happen. It's something I'm not looking forward to, and I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen with DC Comics. And the thing is that if DC Comics, we talked about this a few weeks ago with Omni Bros, if DC Comics goes under, worst case scenario, DC Comics is no more. We don't have any more DC Comics, no more Batman, no more Superman in the traditional sense. There goes the comic book stores. A vast majority of the comic book stores, done. Like, done. I mean, you'll have your, and Gabe commented on this a lot too. You'll have, of course, your little specialty shops like Torpedo. Torpedo's not going to go anywhere because, one, Torpedo has a really established fan base. Two, they have a bunch of back issues, and there will always be people that will collect back issues. And three, they are smart enough that they just don't do comics. They don't do that. They do a whole bunch of other stuff as well. And I think the bigger chain stores, like my stores around here, Coliseum of Comics, chances are those will be okay. They might have to shut down like a few stores to save cost. This is just all guessing, by the way. But stores around me that I love, like Epic Comics, which is great. If you're ever in Orlando, Epic Comics is fantastic. I always recommend you guys check them out. Chances are they won't be able to survive. They're not going to be able to survive because they are such a mom and pop small shop. And it sucks, man. It really does. I'm going to do one for you guys, and I'm going to do one for the YouTube stuff. Let's see. Steph Van Hees. What are some of your favorite music albums this year? Different question. I like this one. Okay, my favorite music albums this year, I'm going to say, if you guys haven't listened to it, I've listened to a little bit of it. The new Tool album is badass. That shit is great. The new Tool album is so good. It was like 13 years in the making, and, you know, Maynard is what he is. Maynard's kind of known for being not a good person. He's kind of known for being a bit of a dick. It's a really good album that I recommend you guys check out. I dug the hell out of that. Let me think. Aside from that, I can't think of really anything this year that has really just absolutely blown me away. I like the new Nas stuff that he put out. I thought that was pretty good, even though it was just like a bunch of unreleased tracks. I'm a big fan of Nas, so I really dug that. Let me think. Other than that, I don't know, man. Other than that, I can't think of too many albums that I've listened to this year that I'm like, wow, that was incredible. I don't know if there's somebody in the chat's like, oh man, you need to check this out. I'm probably missing some good stuff. Okay, let's come back to you guys. Question. What is your opinion for the Joker movie so far? My opinion for the Joker movie so far is and this is by XDC on here. Actually, I can do this. I completely always forget. What is your opinion of the Joker movie so far? My opinion of the Joker movie so far is that I think it has a lot of potential I think it's going to go one of two ways. I don't think there's going to be an in-between of this. I think it's going to be either really, really incredibly well done, or I think it's going to be a colossal train wreck. I know the script has leaked online, and a bunch of really sensitive people online got mad at the script because apparently, like, the whole movie is a commentary on toxic masculinity and how men feel something like that. But that's about as long as I know. I haven't read the script. I've been tempted to read it simply because I can't wait for this, but I have not read it. But apparently that it has a lot to say about toxic masculinity. So I'm really interested to see where it is that this story goes, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out. I think this has potential to be Oscar buzz. I mean, they are dropping this in October, which means they have confidence in this, that this will be potentially Oscar worthy. I would feel more confident in it being 100% more Oscar worthy if it was November, because if you know anything about the film industry, November is usually that month, November and December, where you start getting all those Oscar films because it's really close to Oscar season and voting season comes around after that. But I think Joaquin Phoenix, man, good Lord, he looks like he's going to crush this. He really does. And that laugh, where you see the laugh where he's walking down the hallway and you just see him break out in a laugh and then he gets real serious. Joaquin has actually said that he studied people that unfortunately have kind of like a psychological thing. I forgot what the term is, where they just break out uncontrollably and laugh for no apparent reason. So it could be that. Just a bunch of different vibes from that trailer. And we really, I don't know necessarily what the story is about. It looks like a whole bunch of different movies pieced together. It looks like King of Comedy from Martin Scorsese. It looks like Taxi Driver, another Martin Scorsese movie. It has echoes of a lot of Taxi Driver. If you've ever seen Taxi Driver, it's brilliant. I love Taxi Driver. If you haven't seen Taxi Driver, you guys do owe it to yourself to see Taxi Driver. Even if you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure you've heard the line, "You talking to me?" Like, "Are you talking to me?" That came from Taxi Driver. Everybody's heard of that line at some point. So I'm super excited for Joker. I'm very, very excited. I'm actually more than cautiously optimistic. I have high hopes for it. I think that it has a lot of potential. It really does. And actually, I just have high hopes for it because it's different. Good or bad, it's at least different, and they're trying something a little bit different. I have nothing against the Marvel films. I'm not a person that's like, oh, Marvel and DC, that's not really my bag. But I am somebody that I watch a lot of film. Not as much as Guillermo del Toro, Guillermo del Toro has said that he watches at least two movies a day because he studies film all the time. But I think that as a film, this looks way more promising and way more different than anything that we've seen from the Marvel camp in a while. And I mean that a lot. Like, Endgame was awesome. It was really cool. And I dug seeing all the heroes together and the big Thanos fight and everything like that. That was really cool. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like I really got anything too different out of Endgame. Like, I loved it, but it wasn't that different. This, to me, looks a little bit different in the superhero genre. But we'll see. You know, like I said, it could be a total bomb. It could be a huge train wreck. Well, the reason Gotham Tanguirala, the reason that it has De Niro in it is Martin Scorsese, Jesus, was originally attached to direct this. Like, Scorsese was originally attached on this project. However, I think he went out because he dropped out because he wanted to do The Irishman or something like that. But he was originally set to do this film. Didn't do it, and so I went to the guy that made the Hangover films, which is really interesting. Let's go back to the YouTube stuff. And I promise I'll get to you guys in a bit. I just like dealing with YouTube stuff out of the way first. What's the best way to sell comics/omnibuses? New, sealed, and very lightly used ones. Thanks, man. Love the content. Keep up the great work. Best way, to be honest, to potentially get your money back would probably be eBay. I'm not gonna front and lie to you. Like, I love the omnibus group that we're all a part of, but if you want to get the most bang for your buck, especially for out of print stuff, you can't do that in the omnibus group because of the fact that the omnibus group doesn't allow you to sell books past the retail price. That's the whole point of the group, that people can get really good books for a good price. But if you want the most bang for your buck, man, it's gonna have to be eBay. Especially if you're talking about like omnibuses, hardcovers, collected editions, and things like that. A lot of retail shops, I'm pretty sure like 90% or 95% of retail mom and pop shops are not going to be interested if you go up to them and go, hey, I've got this really rare omnibus. Want to buy it off of me? Chances are they're not going to want to do that because a lot of that stuff doesn't sell in stores. You know, there's omnibuses, absolutes. Those are specialty collectors items. If you collect omnibuses and absolutes, you are a specialty collector. That is what you are. Because, and it's a very pricey thing, because you are investing a lot of money, you're putting a lot of money into a hardcover book and into a absolute edition, something that most people would look at you and go, why are you spending $75 on comics, like a huge collection of comics? Because you love it. You know, you're a specialty collector in that sense. But yeah, eBay would probably be your best bet. Let's go back here. A lot of stuff going on. Kenneth, are you looking for? Okay, let's go back. How exactly? Who exactly decides what specific collections to publish, and why does DC do such a shitty job of it? That is actually I really don't know. I can't tell you off the top of my head. I know Omar is in contact with one of the guys that works in the publishing department at Marvel, and he's an awesome guy. I would be more of an Omar question, to be honest. He would be able to give you a better answer than that. I don't want to lie to you. As to why DC does a shitty job of it, I don't know. I really can't say. That's more of the business goings of DC. Maybe they don't care. Maybe they just see it as like, all right, let's get these kind of collected editions out of the way because they sell pretty well. You know, it doesn't matter what the cover is. Doesn't really matter if the spines match or anything like that. You know, we'll use the cheapest stuff. Maybe they're getting the rug pulled from under them. You know, we talked a little bit earlier about what's going on at DC Comics and how everything is just kind of in a state of really weird, unknown flux right now. I mean, a few months ago, we didn't know what was going on with the trades and what was going on with the hardcovers and the collected editions and stuff because they canceled a whole bunch of them. Like they just dumped a whole bunch of them out of nowhere, and people started panicking, thinking, "Oh, the sky is falling." We don't know. I really can't tell you, honestly, and I'm not gonna lie to you. So it stinks, man. It really does stink to be a DC comic fan right now. Especially since they have a lot of good titles right now. And I never want to see a comic book company, DC, Image, Dark Horse, IDW. I never, even the smaller indie stuff, Lion Forge. I never want to see a comic book company go away or shut down. I don't get this mindset of a lot of people right now online that they hope for like Marvel to shut down, or they hope for DC Comics, or they hope for Lion Forge to shut. Why would you want that? More comics are better. You know, it gives you more publishers, and more comics are better. It's better for the industry. It gives you a chance to actually find some really cool stuff, to discover new writers, to have new creative stories. Why would anybody want that? I don't understand it. I really don't. It's a damn shame. Are you looking forward to CW's Arrowverse version of Crisis on Infinite Earths? It will be interesting to see what they will change from the original 12-issue arc, like changing character deaths. Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not watched a DC TV show, like the CW stuff, since Flash season 1. With that said, I'm watching this. I am super excited for this crossover, man. It has the potential to be huge, and it looks so much fun. The fact that they got Kevin Conroy, all these different voice actors, and all these different actors back. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited. I can't wait. I really can't. It's gonna be so much damn fun. Oh my goodness. Just thinking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh. Makes my like nerd heart aflutter that they're actually doing this, and it looks like they're pulling it off, and it looks like it's going to be really, really well done. So more power to them. I'm super excited about it. Let's see what else. I am going to do this question. Let's go down here to this question right here. Ah, I lost my way. Okay, here we go. This one's a tough one, and I hope a lot of you guys out there can help them out too. This is by Steph Van Hees. He entered this in earlier. Hey, Lewis, I'm starting my master's in linguistics and literature this year. Congratulations, sir. Hope that goes really well for you. At the uni. And I'm thinking of writing my thesis about graphic novels / comic series. Good choice. Aside from V for Vendetta, obviously, which other comic series or graphic novel would be dense / complicated / interesting enough to do research on for a master's thesis, which will need to be approximately 30 to 40 pages in length. That sounds about right for a thesis. Okay, so you've already listed one of the more obvious ones. Why am I getting limited? You've already stated one of the more obvious ones, which is obviously V for Vendetta. You also have Watchmen. You have a whole bunch of other ones that you can go through. Let's see. You've got Sandman, Watchmen, Mouse. And actually, I even brought this to the collective, man. I brought this over to the Omni Bros because I wanted to be 100% sure as to what to give you for an answer. And Omar said Avengers Disassembled. Don't listen to Omar. Omar's wrong on that one. But you've got Sandman alone is really dense. There's a lot going on in Sandman. So if you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend you do check out Sandman. And Sandman can give you just all the different mythologies and all the amount of lore and the amount of thought that's put into Sandman. I really think that you can write a college paper on a lot of that stuff too. Mouse is good, like I already said. There's Watchmen. Let me see. And off the top of my head, those are the three that I would really recommend that are super dense. Now, if you want to get into like the more artsy fartsy type of stuff, you know, a lot of the Chris Ware stuff, even though I don't like it, it's not my cup of tea. In fact, I just can't stand Chris Ware's stuff. A lot of the Chris Ware stuff is regarded in high regard among fans. It shows up in stuff. What about Wanted? It shows up in stuff like The New Yorker. So that is really regarded as like really top tier artwork. I mean, if you want to even go European comics, there's the Inkle. There's all the Jodorowsky stuff and all that stuff. So you can go that route too. But that's a good amount of things, I think. I think between the Watchmen, the European comics like the Inkle and Mouse and Sandman, there's plenty of stuff there that you can research and you could do a lot of your homework on. I hope that helps. Jose Canseco. Hello, question. I'm starting to read Marvel from Avengers Disassembled, and I found that after that I had to read Iron Man Extremis Volume 4. But it seems it does not follow the events of Disassembled. For example, no one knows that Tony Stark is Iron Man. Do you know how these comics relate? Thank you for your time. I don't, because I never really got that far into the Bendis run. I started reading Bendis's Avengers, and I fell off hard. It wasn't really for me. It wasn't really my bag. I didn't care for it, and I just kind of found it overall just not my cup of tea. I just kind of play it off. In my head canon, I'm just like, okay, well, obviously something happened between issues that people don't know he's Tony Stark again. You know, comics are weird, man. And like Jack Kirby says, comics will break your heart. That one day Spider-Man is married and he's got a successful marriage. The next day he's back to being single and everybody forgot that he was actually Spider-Man. So comics are weird. They're always ever changing. And I'm just the person that I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to go with the flow. If it's a good story, it's a good story. If not, then, oh, well, you know, I think that's my way of doing it. Taxi Driver I've only seen on HBO back in the 90s. Never owned it on home video. Oh, man. It's been a while since you've seen it. Chrissy, what are your top 5 manga? Are you planning on making any manga reviews? I've covered manga in the past, and I've been meaning to come back to it and start really covering it hard again. But my top 5 favorite manga would be, at number 1, 20th Century Boys, because I love 20th Century Boys. It's so damn good. Let's go with number 2. I'm going to put Full Metal Alchemist. I'm going to say number 3, and these are all going to be stereotypical. Berserk for number 3. I love Full Metal Alchemist. That's why I'm putting it above Berserk. And Full Metal Alchemist is actually done. Berserk hasn't finished yet. Number 4. Damn, that's a tough one. I'm going to say Pluto for number 4 because I really love Pluto. And number 5, that's tough. Number 5, I said da. You know what? Number 5, I'm going to go with Hunter x Hunter. I love Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is one of my favorites. The Eternals Omnibus is currently now on eBay for $500. Holy shit. Why? Wow. Zombie Slayer, do you watch wrestling? If so, what are your thoughts on the current status of WWE? Like SKO, you think it's going to get killed by, or in terms of ratings, or you think it can survive? I think WWE, yeah, I am a fan of wrestling, actually. I'm all excited for AEW this weekend, All Out. Woo, super excited. I think that WWE won't, look, WWE is not going anywhere anytime soon, okay? WWE, it's got such a stronghold on the industry, on the wrestling industry as a whole, that it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. It would have to tank literally for years and years and years for it to go anywhere. What I do think is that AEW showed up and it gave them a bit of a wake-up call. Like, hey, AEW showed up at the pay-per-view, at their first 3 pay-per-views this year, and they were like, look, we are here. We are not playing around. We take this very seriously, this whole like wrestling thing, and we really, really want to do something in this. We really want to carve our own niche in this. We've seen that already with them signing Kenny Omega. We've seen that already with Chris Jericho. With Pac, apparently, if the rumors are to be believed, he has signed with AEW. I know there was some conflicting interest. There were some conflicting interest with Pac quite a few months ago, as far as like he wanted an agreement as to like when he would get a shot at the title, and he didn't really want to lose his first few matches or something along that line. But that Dustin and that Cody match, to me, was the match that really made AEW what it's becoming today. That Dustin and Cody match, if you haven't watched it for AEW, was beautiful. It was so goddamn good. It really was. It's one of those rare matches where you watch it and as you're watching it, you're going, I'm watching something special here. It's kind of like Kenny and Okada. And you're watching the match and you're just going, holy shit, what a match, man. It's so good. And I think WWE started taking notice of it. And they started going, oh, man, like these people are not messing around. They have something special here, and they've got a lot of fire behind them. Will that translate well when they come back, when they come to a weekly show on TNT? We don't know. We don't know right now. They may and they might not. They might fizzle out. I hope not, because I think competition is good. And I think AEW has some extremely talented people right now. MJF, to me, is the best heel in the game. Like, he is great. I fucking love MJF. He is so good. He really is. As far as WWE, WWE's got a lot of talent, but they're not using it. They're not using their talent the right way. They have a lot of guys just sitting in the back, just going, yeah, okay, we want to be the next big thing. Like, we want to. But you keep pushing Brock Lesnar for every single friggin' pay-per-view, and you keep trying to put him over, and the fans are just tired of it. At least that's my 2 cents. I'm tired of Brock Lesnar. I don't need Brock Lesnar anymore. Like, I could do completely without Brock, okay? I don't need him. I don't want to see him win any more champ. Like, at this rate, I'm pretty sure Brock Lesnar will win the women's division title pretty soon in WWE. Like, that is where this is going. It's ridiculous. You know, apparently Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, Eric Bischoff took over SmackDown and Paul Heyman took over WWE with, you know, Vince McMahon like overseeing things. And since then, things have gotten a little bit better, and I will admit, I think things have gotten a little bit better. But, you know, it's still, Vince still has final say. And until Vince lets go of that draconian grip, I really don't think that we're going to get an amazing WWE product in a while. That's my 2 cents, of course. I would love to see Triple H finally take over the reins. I think he's been doing great with NXT, but we'll see. We'll see what will happen down the road. What would you say is the best Flash run? Man, that's so difficult. I love Jeff John's run on the Flash. I love Mark Wade's run on the Flash. I'm going to give it to – I like Jeff John's a lot, for me personally. And the little bit of the Flash that I've read, Jeff John's run sticks out so much. Grant Morrison had a great run on the Flash along with Mark Millar. That wasn't bad too. But for me, it's the John stuff, man. It's so good. It really is so good. Do I have any more questions? Okay, Derek Chua. How long are books supposed to last before their glue bindings deteriorate? Is relaxing the spine on Omnis for sewn or glued bindings? How could we prevent yellowing of pages on newsprint paperbacks? Does yellowing ever occur on glossy paper? How to prevent curling of thin paper and cover, and is prevention just temporary to the inevitability? Man, you asked a lot of questions. Okay, let's take a look at this. How long is the binding supposed to last on glue before it begins to deteriorate? I've had some books that I've had for going on about 10 years, and they're still holding up really tight. Like it just depends. It depends on how well it's bound and how much glue. There is so much there that depends, and there's so much of an unknown to that question that I really can't give you a straight answer. It's not like I can say, okay, after 3 years, everything is going to start falling apart, because every book is different. Every book is put together differently. We saw, for example, the Miles Morales omnibus. That thing was put together like just tissue paper. It was horrible, and it was just falling apart in people's laps when they were reading it. Then we've got other books where you've got like the Absolute Preacher, where that thing is bound to pristine condition, just pristine, and you can tell they put a lot of love and thought into that. So really, that's just up to the book, man. There's not really anything that I can go, yeah, you're just gonna get this book, and then 4 or 5 years later, bloop, it falls apart right in your lap, like it turns to dust as you're reading it. That would really suck. What else did you ask? Is relaxing the spine on Omnis for sewn or glued binding? You can use it on either way. Doesn't matter. Ideally, when you're reading an omnibus or a really huge tome like that, what you want to do is you want to lay it, you want to open it. And I did a video of this for like a few years ago. There's a certain way that you want to open the book that you can actually like relax the spine and stretch it out. That way it's just not you're opening it and then all of a sudden the spine just actually gets whiplash. But you can use that and it should help. How could you prevent yellowing of pages on newsprint paperbacks? My thought, and somebody in the chat can actually correct me on this, is that I think that's due to sunlight damage, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken. Like I've got stuff, like I said, I've got stuff here for years and years and years, and still it hasn't really it hasn't deteriorated. So I don't know what you're doing, man. I really don't. But then again, I can usually keep my books and stuff like that out of the sunlight in a really dry space. That way it doesn't get wet or anything like that. I think the yellow pages, that's sunlight and moisture, if I am not mistaken. How to prevent curling of thin paperback covers, and is prevention just temporary or inevitability? I don't know. I really can't tell you that one. I really can't off the top of my head. What's your opinion on Tokyo Ghost? One of my favorite gems. I read the first trade of Tokyo Ghost, and I always wanted to come back to it. And I never did, which is rare because it's a Rick Remender book, and I love Rick Remender. And it has Sean Murphy doing art duties, and I love Sean Murphy. In fact, I've got the second volume, and I'm probably just going to end up pulling that out after I'm done with this live stream and actually sitting down and reading that with a nice cup of coffee. That sounds actually pretty good right now. Coffee or hot chocolate? Ooh. That sounds really good. Like a nice cup of Wawa hot chocolate sounds really good right now. So I'm probably going to sit down and actually finish that, and I might just do a video on that next week. I haven't decided. I haven't decided what the creator spotlight is going to be next week. I think the videos, the creator, what I'm surprised is just how well the creator spotlight videos are doing. My best viewed videos so far this week have been the creator spotlight, the one with Grant Morrison, the unboxing video, And yeah, those are the best ones. Creators and unboxings really do well on this channel. So next week, I think I'm going to do the creator spotlight as like a weekly segment where I will highlight a specific creator and their works every single week. Eventually, I'll run out of creators to get through. Oh God. And then I'll probably just start doing like part 2s and part 3s of that stuff, because some guys like Grant Morrison, they have such a body of work that I just can't squeeze all of it with 4 titles. There's just no way. Like Grant Morrison, I didn't even get to Invisibles, and I didn't even get to his X-Men stuff, and you know, it's just insane. Then you've got Alan Moore, where he's got Top 10, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and so many different books, and I did a video on him already. So I'm going to be revisiting certain writers and artists soon, not too soon, but I'm going to end up having to revisit them because there's just so much to cover. There really is. I plan to read War of Realms without reading any tie-in except Thor. Is that okay? Are there titles I should read too that are significant to the plot? You know what? Funny thing about that is that Jess Bragg is he plans to read War of the Realms, and he asked the same question. To the best of my knowledge, I believe you don't need to read any of the tie-ins and you'll be perfectly fine. Of course, I'm so behind on all that Jason Aaron Thor stuff. I'm really behind on that stuff. I'm talking about I am like Jane Foster was still Thor. That's how far behind I am as far as that. I'm planning now that it's coming to an end, I'm planning to read all of it. And then I'm going to give you guys a solid review of it. I've read Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, and it was really good. Who is your favorite Lantern outside of the Green Lanterns? Mine is Larfleeze. He's very comical. I like Larfleeze. Larfleeze is cool, man. What's the name of the cat? Is it Daxstar? I believe Daxstar is the name of the Red Lantern cat. He's so adorable. I love cats. So I'm going to give it to him. He's probably my favorite. I like Sinestro, too. Sinestro's pretty cool as a villain. I like his motivation. But I like Daxstar. I believe that's his name. He's pretty cool. There's also Pikachu as a Yellow Lantern or a Green Lantern. Like if you look at the drawings, there's Pikachu is actually wearing a lantern ring. He's in the background somewhere. And it's pretty funny stuff. I love Donny Cates, and I'm getting into his Guardians of the Galaxy. What other good Donny Cates Marvel story? I also plan to check out God Country after viewing one of your bits. Oh, man. Donny Cates is my guy right now, dude. His Thanos run. Like, we can talk Donny Cates. His Thanos run is fantastic. His Thanos run to me is required reading for any comic book fan right now. It's so goddamn good. If you have not read Donny Cates' Thanos run, it's only a few issues long. He took over the reins after Jeff Lemire. You don't need to read the Jeff Lemire stuff. Even though the Jeff Lemire stuff is really good, I highly recommend that you read his Thanos stuff. Oh, it's nasty. Just nasty. Donny Cates is a guy, he is Scott Snyder a few years ago. Where a few years ago when Scott Snyder came into the scene, he was really red hot. Any book he touched was just on fire. Everybody was reading everything he put out. And, you know, not that he isn't a quality writer, because he's still really a fucking quality writer. Like I think he's one of the best in the game right now. It's kind of cooled down a little bit for him, and Donny Cates is just red hot right now. He's got the Guardians of the Galaxy, which is great. If you're not reading that, you have to read it. His Guardians of the Galaxy right now. It's fantastic. Silver Surfer Black is great. It's only 3 issues in. You can start reading it right now. You don't need to know anything about the Silver Surfer. It's great. It's great, 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 great. I would recommend, though, that if you are going to read Silver Surfer Black, you read his Venom. There's something that happens in the first issue of Silver Surfer Black, or is it it happens like in the first or second issue of Silver Surfer Black that ties in heavily to his Venom run. I don't want to give it away, but it does tie in very heavily. And I always recommend that you read that. Like if you for whatever reason are just not reading Donny Cates' Venom run right now, you are missing out on some of the best comics on the stand. It's so good. It really is, guys. It's the level of how good Donny Cates' Venom run is right now is just insane. I read Absolute Carnage #2 this morning, and good God, man, it's just so much fun. It really is, and I can't get enough of it. The guy's such a good writer right now, and I know I'm sucking on Donny Cates' teat right now a lot. Love the guy. But geez, he really is just crushing it. He really is, just on everything he's putting out right now. So here we go. Lloyd Wong. Sunlight Plus newsprint is the cheapest quality paper publishers use. That is why you don't see that kind of paper anymore. Yeah, you mostly see that like on old comics. Like, yeah, I used to have G.I. Joe comics from the 80s, and they used that cheap stuff there. And it would just always eventually turn yellow. It would just get nasty and yellow and ugh. What is your favorite Wally West run? My favorite Wally West run, again, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to say Jeff Johns. Like, I love Jeff Johns writing Wally West before he brought back Barry Allen. Like, that was so much fun. It really was so much fun. Him just creating all these different characters and Wally just facing off against the Rogues Gallery. Oh my gosh. I wish Jeff Johns would do more. Go back to doing comics like that again. Please, Jeff. I know you're making the big bucks and you're doing a lot of stuff over at DC and you're like overseeing a lot of TV projects and movie stuff and everything. But please consider going back to full-time making comics at some point in your life. Because you were just so good, man, in those early 2000s. He had that JSA, which JSA was great. If you haven't read it, his JSA run's fantastic. He was writing The Flash. He changed Green Lantern forever. Jeff Johns was white hot at a point, man, and I just wish he would go back to that. Ugh. Are you anticipating King Thor? Thanks for answering my question, dude. How about Kate's Cosmic Ghost? Oh, hell yes. Cosmic Ghost Rider is badass, man. I'm going to assume you don't know who Cosmic Ghost Rider is. That was an awesome reveal for me when I found out, oh, Cosmic Ghost Rider is da-da-da-da-da. It's this character. That's really cool, and that makes a lot of sense. Yes, Cosmic Ghost Rider is a big one. Am I anticipating King Thor? Yes. Like I said, I'm going to eventually come back, and I'm going to eventually read the entirety of Jason Aaron's Thor run. That's my plan. And then I'm going to give you guys a solid review. In fact, I'm going to actually just go straight through. I've already read the God Butcher stuff and the God Bomb and, you know, all that stuff. So I read the first chunk, but I'm going to reread that again. One, because I think it would help refresh my memory. And two, because it's freaking awesome. And it's really badass. So. Does Scott Snyder have any independent work, or is he some ironclad contract with DC? No, Scott got his big break doing stuff at Vertigo, on American Vampire. American Vampire was the book that put him on the map. So there was that. There's Severed, which if you haven't read Severed, it's really good, like really, really good. Severed is a story about two kids. They've ran away from home, and man, it's been years since I've read Severed. They're basically just on the run, and they're being followed by basically this crazy serial killer, like hobo, and it's really good, man. There's one particular scene involving a bear trap that it freaked me out the first time I read it. So if you haven't read Severed, that's an underrated Scott Snyder gem for me. I think that well, there's another topic that I'm gonna cover next week. I'm gonna cover underrated gems. I've already got quite a few off the top of my head that I'm gonna cover. But Severed to me is that book that Scott Snyder was doing Batman at the time. He was doing American Vampire at the time, and he just flew under a lot of people's radar because he was doing so many good things that I just don't think it gets enough love. I'm waiting on a Venom hardcover along with Immortal Hulk in hardcover. It's killing me waiting for those to come out. You know what? You're going to get those. You're going to finish them, and you're going to go, God damn it. Now I got to wait for the other collected hardcover editions to come out. Hey, The Collector. What's up, man? How's it going, pal? Cosmic Ghost Rider doesn't get enough love. No, he does not. He deserves more love, and you guys should all be reading Cosmic Ghost Rider, damn it, and every title that he's in, because he's awesome. Did American Vampire get canceled, and will it ever have a volume 2? Scott Snyder said recently that he's going to plan to come back to American Vampire sometime next year. And that will bring it up to modern time, if I'm not mistaken, that next arc that he's got planned. And Snyder has always said that when American Vampire reaches like modern time, that's when he's going to end the series. So my guess, this is speculation based on that, is that next year we will get, maybe depending on what Rafael Albuquerque's art, like what his schedule looks like, we will get at least 12 issues, or however many issues they can put out, maybe 6, maybe 8, whatever, that's up to them. And it'll wrap up the story of American Vampire, and we will get that second volume omnibus eventually. I know American Vampire, he's always said that's a story that's near and dear to his heart, mainly because it did break him out into the mainstream. Like that was the book that everybody started picking up because they saw, oh, Stephen King's writing this. And when they started reading it, going, man, Stephen King's great, but who the hell is this Scott Snyder guy? He's crushing this. So a lot of fans were drawn immediately to his writing. So he says he's always got a special place in his heart for it. I want him to finish the story, man. I love Skinner Sweet. I think he's awesome. And I love those characters. I love Pearl. Just American Vampire is so good, and it's a damn shame that it's been put on the back burner for so long because Snyder is just so busy right now. So who knows? Maybe he's been working on the script like in between projects right now. We don't know. I've always thought American Vampire would make a great TV show. It has the potential. You could do every season of American Vampire could be a different era in television. You could start it in the West. You can move it into World War II, which is my favorite arc, and then you could just go from there. Oh, God, how good. If you read American Vampire, how good is that World War II arc in American Vampire? Just quality writing, quality art. Oh, my God. It's so good. It really is. If you have not read American Vampire, you owe it to yourself to do so. And I am long overdue for a reread of that series. And the mythos, just the mythology involving just the mythology in American Vampire, involving all the different vampires from different continents and different countries, and what that means to be a Native American vampire or to be a European vampire, and what the different weaknesses are. Like, for example, Skinner Sweet, he is not weak to silver. He is not weak to sunlight. He's weak to something else. And that was kind of like the big, what is he weak to for a while in that series. So it's really cool. And I want more American Vampire. How many issues you read per week? And when did you start reading comics? At this point, how many issues do I read per week? Not enough. You would think that I read like 70, or like I read everything under the sun. But between my full-time job, between doing YouTube, because at this point, pumping out videos 5 days a week, some of you, not saying all of you, but some people might think, oh, it's simple, it's really easy, you just upload videos. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of you guys don't know. I know my videos aren't exactly right now the highest of high quality, but I do what I can with what I've got. And there's editing, there's voice recording, there's image, you got to find the images and you got to put it all together. And on one video alone, I can easily spend between the editing and the voice work and stuff like that, like 6 hours, just on one video alone altogether. 6 to 5 hours, easily. So it's kind of difficult when you're doing 5 videos a week and you have to split all that time up to be able to put out stuff and to find time to read comics. So I'm not reading a whole lot, but I am keeping up with what I love, and I am picking up stuff in order to stay on top of things and to find new things for content and things like that. So I can't give you a specific number. Wish I could, man. When did I start reading comics? For as long as I can remember, brother. As long as I can remember. I also plan to read DNA's Guardians of the Galaxy. Is it necessary to get into the whole War of Kings and Realm of Kings, or will I be okay with just the Guardians issue? You can be okay with the Guardians issue, but they do tie in. Like they do tie in eventually. And you can ask Jess Bragg. He was not a fan. I think it was Realm of Kings that he really didn't like the Darkhawk issues broke him. Eddie, what's up, man? You're in Connecticut? Hey, I'm here in Orlando. I'm getting ready for a hurricane. I got into Jason Aaron's Thor because of your earlier review when you first started on YouTube. Oh my God, please don't look up those videos. Those are horrible. They are terrible. God Butcher / God Bomb made me love Thor. I had no interest in Thor before reading that. Oh, awesome, man. Yeah, I always tell people when they ask me, hey, where can I start with Thor? I say, well, the obvious choice is, of course, Jason Aaron's run. Pick up the God Bomb and the God Butcher stuff. A great place to start. You don't need to know anything really about the mythology, and you just run with it. And for the most part, it's self-contained until they get into like the female Thor stuff. Then it starts tying into other things. I'm just like, okay. Whoa, okay. What do you think of Millar World? I love most of them, especially Reborn. I am a huge fan of the Jupiter's Legacy things. Everything that he's putting out in Jupiter's Legacy, I think, is really good, and I think it's criminally underrated, and I don't think it gets enough love. I think Jupiter's Legacy is so brilliant. I love Jupiter's Legacy. And, you know, Millar, over the past few years, has gotten kind of ridiculed, you know, rightfully for certain things. But I still think that the man can write, and I think he's really talented. And I like the stuff that he puts out. It's just a shame that it seems like he's putting stuff out more just to sell it, as opposed to kind of the love of comics. But it's not my place to judge him. Our post Hellboy and Hell stories still good. I kind of lapsed a bit after finishing that. Here's the thing with Hellboy and Hell. And I don't want to give away everything that happens. Hellboy comes back in a big way. I'm not going to say how. He comes back into play in a big way towards the end of BPRD, The Devil You Know. Again, not going to say how. You don't need to read it because Hellboy and Hell is a pretty, it's a conclusion to Hellboy. It can settle for a conclusion. But it is not the ending of Hellboy's story as much as we thought it was. And if you haven't read any of the BPRD stuff, you really should, because BPRD is awesome. And it's a proper ending to what happens with Hellboy and Hellboy and Hell. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. All that I'm going to say. Yeah. Not going to say anything else and ruin anything else for you. Hey, Craig Stewart. How you doing, buddy? Have you ever read Hunter x Hunter? It's my favorite piece of fiction. I highly recommend it. Yeah, dude. I listed Hunter x Hunter earlier in my top 5 manga. Came in at like number 5. I love Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, Hisoka's awesome. You know, Gon is really cool. And of course, yeah, I love Hunter x Hunter. It's so good. The Chimera Ant arc is brilliant. It's beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's such a great arc. Do you play any video games like Red Dead Redemption, etc.? Yes. Dude, I'm a huge video game guy. Whenever I could fit it into my schedule. I'm wrapping up Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I'm probably going to wrap that up tonight at some point because I don't sleep at this point. I really don't sleep much. I've put in 3 Houses, I've put in probably like 67 hours already, which is just sickening. A sickening amount of time when I think about, like, wow, I could have done so much more with my time than losing like 3 days of my life on 3 Houses. But 3 Houses is so good. It's right now my personal game of the year. I've got Astral Chain waiting for me. I've already got it downloaded onto my Switch, and I've already got Control waiting on the Xbox One that I need to finish up too. So yeah, I'm a big video game guy. Love video games. Huge gamer. Cleveland Brown, who is your waifu in 3 Houses? Edelgard is my waifu. Was my waifu in 3 Houses. She broke my heart. Not going to spoil anything there. So now I'm settling for Dorothea. I like Dorothea. DC better not cancel American Vampire Volume 2 Omnibus, or I'm going to cancel the Vertigo line. Oh, that was actually good. That was pretty good, man. I like that. That was good. That was good. Bravo, sir. I didn't expect that one. And I just want to say I got into Thor, Immortal Hulk, and Hellboy because of your videos. Yes. Love hearing that stuff, kid. It seems now I'll get into Donny Cates because of this live cast. Thanks for enriching my reading. Hey, man, you know what? That's what this is about, dude. Comics is a wonderful thing, but it can be a bit intimidating to get into. And that was kind of when I rebranded this and I restarted everything from the hardcover review days. That was kind of my goal, where I was like, you know what? It'd be pretty cool to have kind of like just a YouTube channel that's like starting points. This is where you start without me spoiling anything, because I know a lot of people that they want stuff spoiled and everything, and that's cool. You know, if you want Comic Historian or to read the comics to you, that's your bag, whatever. But I know a lot of people out there that they want to read them themselves and they want to go starting on point. That was the whole point of this YouTube channel. So I'm happy I'm able to help you. It is called Hiatus. Are you excited for games like Cyberpunk, Watch Dogs Legion, Death Stranding, and the Avengers game? Cyberpunk, yes. Watch Dogs, not really. Death Stranding, hell yes. Avengers game, no. I'm curious what Death Stranding is going to be. I'm actually also really nervous. I said on Twitter the other day that I think with Death Stranding, I think that knowing Kojima would not surprise me if everything that we've seen from Death Stranding is only within like the first 2 to 3 hours. And we really haven't seen what Death Stranding actually is. I'm getting kind of annoyed of them being really coy with it. Just fucking tell me what the game is. Like, I want to know what the game is at this point. Just tell me. Tell me, really. Because it's getting annoying. Okay. What is DC Black Label? DC Black Label is DC's way of putting out more mature comics. For example, Batman Damned, where you got Bat Dick, where you got his penis, like the shadow of his penis on it, because they thought it was edgy and all that stuff. It's their kind of like imprint within DC Comics where they can put out stronger, more mature rated comics. And now they're kind of folding in the Vertigo stuff into that. So that's what that is. Have you read either Blade of the Immortal or Vagabond? I'm just starting manga and can't decide between either. Vagabond is great, but you have to realize that once you get into Vagabond and you read really far into it, and when you're caught up, it's not done yet. And the mangaka has no plans of continuing it anytime soon. Just he doesn't feel inspired to do it or whatever, and he doesn't have any plans to do it. So damn shame. And a Vagabond has beautiful art. Oh my god. Those of you out there, okay. If you don't like manga, that's cool. I get it. It's not your bag. It happens. Look up the art for Vagabond. I challenge you to look up the art for Vagabond and tell me that is not beautiful. It's gorgeous. Vagabond is incredible looking. It's beautiful, man. It's some of the most beautiful art I think I've ever seen in a manga or a comic. It's incredible looking. And it's a shame he hasn't finished it. But there's a lot out there of Vagabond. Black Label is DC's half-hearted Vertigo replacement. Accurate. Really accurate, actually. I totally understand how, after selling the vast majority of your comics, it would make it very hard to go back. But would you ever go back to hardcover collecting? Not anytime soon. You know, it's just, I don't have anything against it. And there are some days where I'm like, oh man, you know, I kind of missed having like shelves of books and stuff. But you know, where I'm at in life, I'm about to be 30 in a few months. And where I'm at in life, I just don't see myself having the room or the want to have just a bunch of stuff laying around the house. You know, I'm really about downsizing my life right now, especially with everything that's been going on in the last few months between the fallout of my last relationship where I found out she was cheating. Hey, so that was fun. And just trying to start over. I've just been downsizing a lot. So especially now, I really don't see myself as the type of person that I will just get into like collecting mass amounts of stuff just to have it. You know, that's just not where I'm at in life. Who knows? Maybe a few years down the road when I retire or something like that, I'm like, yeah, I'll pick this back up again. Have you seen the 15-minute gameplay that came out today for what? For Cyberpunk? For Death Stranding? I'm behind. What writer and artist collaboration would you like to see happen? I would like to see Brubaker and Quietly work on something together. I'd like to I think that would be really cool. I'd like to see that. Yeah. House of X and Planet of X is killing it right now. Higman is just wow, the brain of that man. Yeah, it's really good. Me and Omar did a live stream the other night on very near mint condition. Um, we did a live stream and we talked about it. Oh, there's a new trailer for Cyberpunk? Oh shit. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna end this and I'm definitely watching that. Johnny Rando, why can't I stop reading Spawn? It's a problem. Dude, I don't know why you can't stop reading Spawn. But let me ask you this. Are you enjoying Spawn? Because if you are, then read it. You know? Read what you want. Read what you like. Life's too fucking short, man. It really is. That's my biggest gripe right now. And I've talked about this last week. That's my biggest gripe between the Comicsgate, pro Comicsgate, anti Comicsgate movement. Let people read whatever the hell they want. You know? Let them read whatever they want. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, comics are comics and they're fun. If you want to read something from Comicsgate, I don't care. Okay, read something from Comicsgate. You know? If you want to read something that's not, okay. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the freedom that we have, that we're able to create and we're able to read whatever the hell we want. I don't care at the end of the day. You know? I really don't. Enjoy it. As long as you enjoy it, and as long as you feel like you've gotten your hard-earned cash that you spent money on, then who am I to judge, right? I downsized too, man. The wife was getting mad there wasn't any space left. Just decided to keep the trade paperbacks of my most favorite. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, dude. You know, without prying too much into your personal life, if you've got kids, it's really difficult to, one, keep a collection like that around the house, and two, to keep buying stuff like that. You know, unless you're really well established. I don't have kids. Not yet. But I would imagine that. Cleveland Brown. Great advice, Lewis. That's why I read Crossed, and I don't give a damn what anyone thinks. You know, like I said, if you love reading Crossed, man, enjoy it. Read it. You know? Read it. As long as it's not hurting anybody and it's not anything like sending you really weird messages. I don't know. But just read what you like. One of my favorites, New 52s, was Azarella's Wonder Woman. What did you think of it? I loved it. I loved Azarella's Wonder Woman. I thought it was great. And I was really sad to see it go. And I was even more sad when Greg Rucka retconned a lot of it. I'm like, what? Come on, man. There was so much good stuff there. I love that he changed the origin. I loved all that stuff. Like the whole clay thing, he got rid of that. The gods were great. Oh my god, Jimmy Chung's art. That was Jimmy Chung, right? I believe it was Chung that was working on that. Beautiful art. Just all around a fantastic run. I'm not the biggest Azzarello fan, but man, 5 stars for me on that. What's the negative for Crossed? I was actually thinking of picking it up. Crossed gets a bad rep because it's really gory. It's really nasty at times, and it's really over the top. That's the big negative for Crossed, man. That's the big thing for Crossed. That's all right. I'm starting to lose my voice. It was a long day today, so I'm gonna give it another 5 minutes with questions. Real quick, guys, if you have not, and if you do want to help, there's always, of course, the Patreon. Patreon found below in the description. $5 a month gets you in a raffle, and it helps keep this channel alive. Like I said, I do this out of love, and I love helping you guys out, but it does help to get a little bit of money on the side to help keep this thing going. And of course, I do eventually want to upgrade this equipment, because right now, if you've seen what I've been recording on, it is literally me using a snowball mic, and I'm using an old IST box so it doesn't reverberate around the house and the sound sounds somewhat decent. So pretty much all that money is just going to go to eventually upgrading the equipment that I've got. So it's always appreciated. You don't have to, but I'm going to be doing a giveaway towards the end of the month. And that's found in the description. Patreon.com/hardcover. Wow. Patreon.com/comicsguide101. Always appreciated. Was Bernard Chang, was he the artist on Azarella's Wonder Woman? Huh. I don't know. I always forget that. Cross makes Preacher and the boys look tame. Accurate. Very accurate, in fact. Cross is it's out there, man. I think Alan Moore did like an arc in Cross at one point too, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's, oh my gosh. Cross is something else. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, but it is something else at times. If it's gratuitous, man. Alec Mitchell, if you don't mind gratuitous stuff, like really gratuitous, like super really gratuitous, then it's for you. Do you like Invincible? I have my issues with Invincible. I thought Invincible was great, and then for me, Kirkman does something to a character where I was like, oh, come on. Like, it was just pure shock value. This is just my 2 cents, of course. For me, it was just like, wow, this is just pure shock value. It really doesn't do anything for me. I really don't. Like, why would you do this? It was actually kind of nasty. I know we just finished talking about Cross, but it just didn't feel like he did it for the sake of the story. It felt like he did it just to shock people. And I was like, ah, geez. Kind of soured me on the whole book. But I think it's still good. I think it's really good, man. The Viltrumite War is fantastic. I love that stuff. Johnny Rando, any thoughts on the Midsommar director's cut? I mean, yes, I'm in. I am 100% in. I loved Midsommar. I can't wait to see the director's cut. What does the director's cut have? Is it like an extra 30 minutes, 40? I forgot what it was, but I'm super excited to see it. I know it comes out pretty soon if it's not already. I loved Midsommar. God, it was such a weird and such a fun movie. And as somebody who, my biggest fear in horror films is, and in life, is religion. And I have nothing against any of you out there. I usually don't talk about religion on this channel because that's not what I'm in, what I like to talk about. My biggest fear in my personal life is religion and the blind fanaticism and the blind following of religion, and just how people get swept up and wrapped up in it so much that they kind of lose themselves in it, and they will do literally what anybody tells them to, for the sake of the religion. And Midsommar just played on all that stuff for me. Oh my God. I'm loving Invincible, and I'm in the 6th hardcover now. Awesome. Hey, happy to help, man. Have you read Descender? No. It's one of the Jeff Lemire properties that I haven't read. No, I take it back. I read like the first 4 issues. And I always, again, meant to come back to it. Yeah, Azzarello is one of those guys that he's really weird as far as like his body of work. He will put out some stuff that's just fantastic, like his Wonder Woman run, and then he'll put stuff out that's just like a dud. It's like a fart in the wind. It just doesn't go anywhere. It's kind of weird, that guy's catalog. Like, okay, we'll take Wonder Woman. He puts out a Wonder Woman book. It's great. I love it. And then he puts out something for Before Watchmen. I think he did the Rorschach story. And I was like, this isn't that good. Like, he's hot and then he's cold, for me at least. And it never seems like he has, for me, a consistent streak. But people love his work. So, all right, I am losing my voice, and it's been a long day at work, and I got to finish getting ready for this damn storm. If for whatever reason I'm going to record voiceovers and stuff like that tomorrow, and I should be okay next week to upload stuff, if for whatever reason I'm going to try to really get ahead of that stuff so I don't miss out on anything. I miss a day or it goes up late or something like that, please understand that it's not because I'm sitting on my ass not doing anything. It's because I probably don't have power because I'm going to get hit by a hurricane in the next few days. So, but for the most part, I'm going to try to get ahead of it. And I should have everything uploaded in time, and everything should go smoothly next week for the videos. A live stream next week, I can't promise right now, simply because I don't know what the state of like power is going to be, depending on how hard we're hit with the storm, and will I have electricity, will I not? But as of right now, I do plan to do another live stream next week. So there's that. All right, guys. So I just want to say I love you. Thank you guys for hanging out with me Friday night. And yeah, just wishing everybody the best, of course. You can follow me on Twitter. That's the best place to follow me. I really don't use the Facebook stuff too much. Twitter's just easier. And of course, the Patreon. Love you guys. Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good night. Bye, 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 bye.